Welcome back to the channel, everybody. In today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. What I have in front of me here is an Amazon online arbitrage category ranking list. So as you guys know, there are tons of categories that you can be selling on Amazon. There are so many that I can't even name. But in today's video, I've pulled the 15 main ones that I've seen are most common for online arbitrage sellers. And I'm going to be grading them into 3 different tiers. And this is going to be based on scalability. Now, scalability is going to break down into 3 subtopics, which is going to be category size and opportunity, how common versus not common it is for online arbitrage, and then also the third thing is going to be fulfillment and if there's heavy return rates and headaches to deal with. And I've been selling on Amazon now for over 2 years, and I've documented everything since day one on Twitter. And all of these categories in this list here, I have sold at one point or another, and I'm probably still selling a good amount of these till this day. So I feel like I'm very qualified to touch on the subject because I used to do self prep before I got a prep center. I used to deal with these products. I've sold so many units, so I know exactly what I'm talking about and figured this would be a great video to give you guys some clarity on what I think are some of the best products and categories to sell on Amazon. All right, so jumping into the list here, you guys can see that we have 15 different categories, which are all unsorted as of right now. Okay, so we have health and household, beauty and personal care, grocery and gourmet, toys and games, home and kitchen, tools, sports and outdoors, pet supplies, electronics, clothing and accessories, industrial and scientific, automotive, crafts and arts, and then books and vinyls and CDs. So I'm going to be ranking again each of them based on category size, opportunity, how common it is for arbitrage, and then also if there's a ton of return rates and just issues and fulfillment headaches that you have to deal with. All right, so let's get into it with health and household starting as our first option. So personally, when it comes to the category size and level of opportunity with this, I do think there is a good amount of opportunity in this catalog because of how big it actually is. Like, this category has so many different products. Commonality for arbitrage, I would say, is about 50-50. You're going to find a lot of stuff that is wholesale likely in this category because, you know, there's stuff like toothpaste, just like in general, like brands that, you know, are very wholesale, like Crest. I'm just thinking of like toothpaste brands for whatever reason, but a lot of wholesale goes on in this category. So I do think for that reason, I'm going to put it in actually the mid tier. I know that might be a little bit surprising to some of you guys, but because it is a little bit more complex with the variety and commonality for arbitrage, I do think that health and household is more mid because you can find good stuff in it, but there's also a lot of bad stuff for arbitrage specifically because, like I said, there's lots of wholesale opportunity in this category. Overall return rates and fulfillment headache is near negligible. I mean, this is very small, simple stuff that you're selling, like toothpaste, toilet paper, you know, just stuff like that. Like, that's considered health and household. So I'm going to put this in mid tier. Okay, next is going to be beauty and personal care. This one has to be in great. I mean, there's just no way I could make a list without putting this in great. Okay, first of all, the category size is massive. All right, there's always new brands entering the beauty and personal care niche. Secondly, it's a very common niche for arbitrage, and also the return rates are pretty mild. I mean, you can run into certain beauty products that have higher return rates than others for sure, but the fulfillment headache is near negligible because these are likely going to be really small items that have very high ASP, which, if you don't know what ASP is, it's high average sale price, which means that your buy cost is also going to be likely very high. So it's super scalable, not only just on like the buying end of things, but the opportunity and the level of size and the commonality that you see this category in arbitrage is very high. So I got to give beauty and personal care, you know, that great rating there because it's a solid category, right? It's a very good category. So the next category that we're going to rank is grocery and gourmet. I think this personally goes into mid, and I know that might be shocking for some of you guys, but it really does fall fate when it comes to commonality for arbitrage because this is a category that is very commonly used for retail arbitrage, like think of your grocery outlet, right? And then not only that, wholesalers are also very commonly on listings that are grocery and gourmet. Okay, category size and opportunity, it's a massive category, of course, and return rates are supposed to be 0, but problem is that people know how to navigate the return system to where they can actually make returns that are then unsellable for you. So I wouldn't say return rates are 0 because, you know, I've seen some grocery products get returned and I was out of my money on those. But the fulfillment headache is, you know, very mild. But if your products are expiring, that can also be a huge issue. So it definitely does sit right in that mid catalog ranking for me. It certainly requires a bit more pampering and there's not as much arbitrage opportunity there. And I think it's honestly one of the most overhyped categories when it comes to, you know, online arbitrage specifically. I think it's very overhyped because people think the return rate is 0 and they're like, oh my gosh, it's amazing, when people can still make returns. They know the loopholes and they know how to mess with Amazon's system. And ultimately for arbitrage sellers, it's easy to get caught up in the mix of wholesale and retail arbitrage. So I'm I'm going to put that one at mid, and I think I feel pretty strong about that. Next is going to be toys and games. So toys and games for me is another one where I have to say it's mid. The reason why I feel like toys and games is mid is because a lot of retail arbitrage happens here, right? Like you're going to see a lot of toys and games in the retail arbitrage niche because it's something that goes on sale pretty commonly in stores. Another thing with toys and games is that for traditional arbitrage, it works a little bit different to where there's a lot of people who sell toys and games that essentially hold certain toys. So they'll be holding product for like a whole year before they actually offload it, and it sits in their storefront. So you think, oh, they must be getting it, you know, from a retailer and like they must be buying it today. When really, like, some people do holds, you know, some people are flipping them RA, right? You really don't see much wholesale in this category, but I definitely think there is a lot of retail arbitrage and just a lot of different kind of mechanisms that if you're tapped in can make you a lot of money. But for standard OA, I do think it's pretty mid. I do think there's opportunity though, especially during Q4, right? That's where I really see the most opportunity with toys and games, because during Q4 everything is on sale from major retailers. So this is a really great time to clean up on toys and games, but year round, definitely not the most sustainable and reliable category that I have personally sold. So goes right in the mid. It's not bad, but it just has its use cases. All right, next is going to be home and kitchen. So where would I rank home and kitchen? I think this one's mid too. I know we got a lot of mid going on right now, but I do think home and kitchen is mid. I do think the category size and opportunity there is pretty big because it can vary just from so many different types of products. Commonality for arbitrage is just, it sits right in the middle, right? Because of how diverse that category can be and how generalized it is. You know, you can be selling pots and pans that come from arbitrage for retail or online arbitrage. And I think overall, like, it's pretty easy to fulfill depending on what you're selling though. You know, so if you're selling stuff that's like really oversized, that's obviously going to be a fulfillment headache. But if you're selling more small knick-knacky stuff, you know, like towels or something like that, right? That could be considered home and kitchen, or even health and household. I see these two categories get mixed in with each other quite a bit. So these two really mimic each other, I would say. So overall, that's why I'm putting it in the mid, is I think it fits very closely with how health and household operates, to where there's going to be a good mix of wholesale, some retail arbitrage. The category size is massive. It's very broad. But because of that, it can be sometimes a little uncommon for arbitrage. So that's where I'm putting home and kitchen. All right, next category on the list is going to be tools and home improvement. I personally think that this is a great category to sell, but there are going to be some caveats that come with it for sure. First of all, when it comes to category size and opportunity, very massive category. The biggest thing when it comes to opportunity for me is that a lot of tools are very high ASP. Okay, so you guys got to think, right? Like if you're buying a drill, I mean, that's going to be $100 or something like that. So your buy cost and the amount of scalability you have there is very present with the tools and home improvement category. There are definitely some smaller knick-knacky stuff, like maybe some tape or something like that. So I think it's a great category though, because there's so much spend opportunity there. Common for arbitrage, I would say it's pretty common. You will see pretty commonly that arbitrage sellers carry, you know, the tools and home improvement category. Now, return rates and fulfillment can definitely be a little bit more of a headache, because these are typically heavier, bigger items. If they start arriving damaged to the customer, right, that's a pretty big chunk and a pretty big loss you have to eat as a reseller. But I do think the pros outweigh the cons here, and I think for scalability, this is definitely one of the better categories to sell. So I'm going to put tools and home improvement in the great category. Next is going to be sports and outdoors. So where do I think this personally ranks? I do think this is something that ranks in the mid tier here. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's great, right? Like you're going to just find a lot of interesting stuff in this category. I know back when like Stanleys were really hot and tumblers and things like that, this probably would have been an A tier, but times have changed, and I definitely think stuff like that has cooled off, or at least the access to the general public for things like that have cooled off. So for me personally, sports and outdoors have definitely just been more of like a mid tier category, right? There's definitely opportunity there. It is a common category for arbitrage, but you know, it's kind of mid, right? Like the potential to spend a lot of money here, I personally think is just a little shallow. But return rates are probably going to be pretty good on stuff like this, and fulfillment headaches are going to be very negligible. So I do think it's deserving of that middle ground spot. All right, next thing we are going to look at here is the pet supplies niche. So next category we're going to look at is pet supplies. Now, unpopular opinion, I honestly love the pet supplies niche. I think there is a ton of opportunity in this category. First of all, the category size, I actually think is a little bit smaller than some of these bigger ones here, but I think the opportunity is really there with pet supplies. Commonality for arbitrage, I would say, is it is a pretty common category. There's a good few retailers that carry pet supplies. Return rates are definitely lower in this category because, you know, if you're selling just like regular pet food that people buy all the time for their pets, I mean, this is something that, you know, people are probably not going to be returning very often. Pet food also is a lot more forgiving than human food because it's easier to not have expire on you. And overall, I think Pet Supplies is great. I also think that there's a lot of like higher ASP products in this category specifically because of the different types of pet things you can be selling, right? So obviously if you're selling like dog toys, it might be a little cheaper, but if you're selling, you know, dog food or like specialized dog treats or supplements and things like that, Pet Supplies can be really good. It's again a very easy fulfillment as well, as long as you're not selling super heavy bags of dog food. So I think it actually is deserving of great, and that might be just my personal bias there, just from how it's treated me over the course of my time selling. So very unpopular opinion there, I'm sure, but Pet Supplies is going to be great for me. Okay, next thing is going to be electronics. So where I would rank electronics, I mean, between poor and mid, it's honestly like in the middle. So I'm just going to put it here. I don't really know where else to put it because I'm not a huge fan of electronics. Like, you know, I really don't sell like PlayStations or anything crazy like that. There is opportunity here for sure, but I personally think you're going to have better luck with toys and games. Now, if video games is like a subcategory and whichever one it falls into, sometimes it'll fall into toys and games and electronics. I think that's deserving of like a mid category, but electronics in general, I don't come across them very often. I will say they're very nice because they're high ASP, so you can spend a lot of money there, but its category size, it feels very small and limited for arbitrage, just in my personal experience. Return rates are also a little bit higher here because people love to return electronics if it's not, you know, what they expect it to be. Fulfillment is not really an issue because most electronics are not that big, but I do think it's kind of just right in the middle here to where I really could take it or leave it. I don't think it's a poor category, but I definitely don't think it is the greatest. So that is going to be my personal opinion and where I rank electronics. Okay, next thing is clothing and accessories. So this is going to be a very interesting one because for me personally, clothing and accessories is a poor category, but I think for the majority of people, it could be mid or even great. This is something that can be so dynamic just depending on when you started arbitrage, because clothing and accessories back in the day was definitely a great category. I mean, there's so much opportunity like in this category here, so much size, so many different big brands that are carried in this, but that's the problem, is that it's all big brands that are really going to push the needle here. And that goes back to like your Nikes, Adidas, your Pumas, right? These kind of brands were great 2-3 years ago, when you actually could get access to selling them, and that, you know, either Amazon themselves wasn't selling the brand or the gatings didn't happen. But in today's, you know, day and age, most sellers, including myself, don't have access to these brands. And you also have to deal with a shit ton of return rates. I mean, it's pretty bad with, you know, how heavy the return rates get, especially with women's clothing. I've seen return rates on stuff like that literally be at like 30%. So I avoid most clothing and shoes at all costs. Mainly shoes. Clothing itself and like accessories isn't too bad, but shoes I really try and stay away from. But if you have those brands and you have access, I do think it's a very, very big opportunity in today's market, as long as you know how to play the game. But for me personally, this is going to be our first poor category ranking. Okay, next category here is going to be industrial and scientific. This one is poor, purely because the category size and opportunity is so limited here. I would even also say for arbitrage, it's very, very uncommon. Return rates and fulfillment, not a big issue here, but there really isn't much to say about the industrial and scientific catalog. It's just so small, right? Like there's not much to really buy in this category. So for that reason alone, it's going to be a poor ranking for me. Okay, next is going to be automotive. For arbitrage specifically, I think it also falls into the poor section for the same reason that industrial and scientific does, is simply because you don't see it that often. There is definitely some automotive stuff I've sold before in the past, but a lot of it, in my opinion, does come from wholesale. I think that's where a lot of that automotive stuff is really being sprouted from. So for arbitrage, I don't see a lot of commonality. The category size is definitely more limited. Return rates and fulfillment headache, probably not much as long as you're selling smaller parts. Now, if you're selling, you know, oil and stuff like that can leak, then that could definitely be a big issue if, you know, stuff is going wrong during transit. But for me, it's going to have to be poor just because, again, it's such a limited category size. So that's where it's going to rank for me. Okay, arts and crafts is going to be next. I actually think the arts and crafts category is, I would say, mid. I don't think it's like a standout category, but I definitely don't think it's bad. I've sold a good amount of arts and crafts before. It is definitely something that you will see in arbitrage storefronts for sure. The category size is a lot more niche here, but as opposed to automotive and industrial and scientific, to where you're probably not going to find a lot of arbitrage opportunity, arts and crafts definitely does have some. So for that reason, I am going to put it in mid. Also, return rates on stuff like this is very low, and I think the fulfillment headache is really not bad at all, because a lot of arts and crafts is very knick-knacky small stuff. So for that reason, I think arts and crafts is well deserving of a mid category ranking. Okay, books. So books for online arbitrage. Sorry to any of the booksellers, but I don't see this category really going anywhere. I personally have probably only bought one book to resell on Amazon as an online arbitrage seller in my 2 years selling. This is for the retail arbitrage guys, right? I mean, this is for the book flippers. Like, you're not gonna really sell books as an arbitrage seller, because most of them are gonna be like used books, and the new books, I mean, unless you're finding them, on a retailer site, then that's really the only way that this stuff becomes profitable. But most of it is just like discounted books that you sell used back on Amazon, and I just don't see this category really at all for arbitrage. So really no opportunity here, which is why I'm giving it a poor rating. Okay, and for our last category here, we have the vinyls and CDs category. So I wanted to put this in poor, but I think it really does fit well in between with the electronics and, this like little middle range between mid and poor here. I think this is a category where it is very small, right? You are gonna not find a lot of stuff in this category, but to say it's not common, I would think is an understatement. I have definitely sold vinyls and CDs in the past, but the biggest drawback with this category is definitely its size and opportunity, but more so the return rates and fulfillment. You guys have to make sure when you're selling vinyls that you package these things so specifically, because they need to be like, if a corner gets bent on a vinyl, it's unsellable as a return, right? So these are very like peculiar and can be a huge fulfillment headache, but because there is opportunity and it's not just a completely dead end here, and the return rates are not as bad as clothing and accessories, and you can actually sell the brands that come from vinyl and CDs, I think it fits really nicely here between mid and poor, along with electronics, to where they both suffer from kind of the same thing. This one a little bit different though, being that fulfillment can definitely be a headache there. And that is going to be my arbitrage category ranking list, from the best to what I think is some of the worst categories that you guys are probably going to come across. These are the 15 main ones that I have just come across in my 2 years of selling, and the main ones that everyone kind of knows and loves. So that's going to be my ranking. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. Definitely feel free to leave a comment on if you would have changed anything in this list, and if anything stood out to you to where like you're not seeing the same stuff that I'm seeing, or maybe you're really killing it with like industrial and scientific and I'm just not tapped in. Definitely feel free to let me know some of the differing opinions on this, because I'd be very curious to hear your guys' ranking. And before I end this video, definitely feel free to subscribe to the newsletter. Link is in the description below. If you guys do want help starting or scaling your online arbitrage business, I run a post once a week on Wednesdays to give you guys free value and free game every single week. And with all that out of the way, that's going to be all from me in this one. So I will see you in the next video. Peace out.